fun day, long day, and we went up to Alabama last year, and that was the return trip, and that's a good team, and they were here for the regional. I think things that I want to mention first is the effort to create the atmosphere today for the fans, and Randy Burdett and our staff, facility staff, ticketing staff, ushering staff, security. We had some grounds help. To make this go, you need all of that. And I hand it to Randy when we announced that this game was happening. He's like, this is going to be great. Like, this is going to be a big deal. Let's make it a big deal. The TV for football, obviously it's a fun football day too. So for the fans to get to enjoy seeing all of our guys play, and then have some other things, the Oktoberfest, I think the concessions, Missy has done a great job with the menu and Legends, building a good experience for people that want to sit out here for 6 hours. I thought that was great, and we have the best fans in the country, and you feel it, and we learn when we can put our players in this environment. We can practice hard and be creative, and there's intensity at practice, but the energy that's provided by our fans and the animals who are into every pitch of this, it really goes a long way. And I use this to evaluate. Some parts of this are easier to evaluate than others. I'm coaching this game, but I'm coaching this game in essence to evaluate what we have. You have to go into your off season having a pretty clear understanding of what the players need to work on in their off season, and then into the preseason, as we eventually will have to form this into one group of players is going to run out there eventually to start our first game. The pitching staff, you can start to see flashes of it. The development of the changeup for Jamie Arnold is just outstanding. What that pitch did today and what it's going to do for him over the long haul of our season and his career. He had command of a very good fastball. He had good command of the slider, and you started to see the changeup. And when you look at that pitch, it's very unique, and he's comfortable with it, and he's gaining a lot of confidence. Running through the arms in game one I have to look back at a lot of pitches in that game, and let's go to the starter in game two, and then I'll bounce back to the guys that were not starting. I thought it was one of the first times we've seen Mendez really get into a rhythm of what he was doing on the mound. And his fastball, when you listen to the hitters talk, his fastball is as dynamic as Jamie's. It's got a different feel to it, but it explodes. His curveball's good, his slider's good, and his changeup's good. So when we can start to really work our way through corralling all that stuff, it's going to be very special in a starting capacity. The breaking ball he threw, probably up and on the inside half of the plate, and they're lefty, that right field will help your team, and it can hurt at times, and that ball just happened to get out of here. But man, overall impressed, and we're working on things. So when Micah has these arms, or we have the hitters or the infielders, you're working on things, then you have to go try to apply it in this setting. So it was good to see him take some of the things and work his way through it. Let's go through game two. I thought Abraham found his secondary pitches. He didn't have them early. He got to them. We've seen him do things for us. Bellini stood out. Everything commanded. The breaking ball had some depth. He could move the fastball around wherever he wanted. Slider was in play, and a changeup. So when you're running that complement of pitches out there and in control of what you're doing, I thought he was one of the really bright spots. And we've seen it. And it's not that we avoided starting him. We just wanted Jamie to have the time and Mendez to have the time to work into the starts. Kinnear, we talk about self-contained relief. He had to create his own relief outing within his inning. He got himself in trouble. There were some mechanical things we were trying to do with him to compact the delivery a little bit. And again, when you walk out there, all of a sudden his leg lift is not quite as violent, and you start seeing 95s, but it took him a few pitches to harness everything. But he got out of the mess that he created. Micah came in, and he's learning and kind of growing through not having pitched a lot coming through rehab. I thought he was fine. Hudson Rowan, as good as we've seen it, a little bit more in control of the stuff and what he was doing. And he went through a lot last year, and I think at times tries to do a little bit too much. But today it was calm and poised, energetic, but a little bit more in control of what he was doing. Offensively, Smelia, Nate, we call him Smelia. I'm not even trying to say his last name. Somalia. How do we say it, Charlie? Shamela. Good at bats, like good, grinding, tough. Like you can see the bat speed and the quickness. Sprayed it around. I thought the bunt through, the throw behind at first base. If you're looking at how you win these games, that defensive moment and then the little rundown where I think their trail runner overran it a little bit and didn't communicate properly on the backside, and we hit the cutoff man, and that was a good moment with the rundown. The relievers, I guess, after Arnold, backing up to game one, Crest has got to be on point, and he wasn't quite accurate enough with what he was doing. Like when the misses are to the middle of the plate with physical older hitters that have been through it, you can get yourself in trouble, and I think that's probably what it was. The cutter wasn't really in on the lefty, and the two-seamer wasn't really where it needed to be. And we're talking 4 to 6 inches, but against that group, they're physical. You got to get it there. Prescott next, I think?
Yeah.
Good. Like you're starting to see there's some 97s, and there's going to be some 98s, and there's going to be a little bit more. It's a good, sneaky, the arm action allows the fastball to probably play better than that, like to the eyes of the hitter. His secondary pitches were, I think his changeup and his split were okay. He's still trying to figure the slider out. I know he left some of those up there. Mason Martinez, good curveball, good slider. Fastball had some life, not crazy velocity, but life, and it's got some climb. Marlowe in control. I know he hit the first guy left on left with a changeup in a full count, but you can see the savviness and pitchability. And he's been through a lot. 2 heart surgeries to end up back out here in the middle of this. Like his adrenaline's going, and it's good to see him get this experience because we can't duplicate it in practice. Standout offensive stuff. I left Carnes in there. I just want him to have at bats, and some of your younger catchers don't run the bases all the time. You know, you go through some high school and travel ball situations where you'll pull the catcher off by rule. You can do that, and whether to rest him or get somebody else in there or get him ready. I thought he had a good ball game, and you can see the capabilities that he has. And all of the catchers did a nice job. Jackson did a nice job. Carnes did a nice job. Nate did a good job in all phases. Pleased with it. You know, moments in game one that clearly hurt. We finally had some momentum, and we get picked off of first base 2 times in a row with a left-handed step-off move. I have never seen that in my life, and probably won't see it again in back-to-back. I guess that was back-to-back base runners, was it? That was 4 hours ago. That's tough. So we work on base running a lot. You can't tell by watching this game. We do. You know, and then we had a runner on second, nobody out, and we kind of failed to capitalize in game one on some of the opportunities. I thought the at-bats in game two were much better. So overall, love this. There's some things we need to tidy up, but man, I do like the progress, and I like the group of guys that we have. I really do.
Going back to game one, the energy that Chase plays with, just how valuable and how much does that help the rest of the dugout get going?
The guy wants to win. He wants to play. He wants to play hard. He wants to run the bases. You could tell he likes it. And I think it's infectious to the other players. I think it's infectious for the crowd. And he's learning. And I love a guy like that you can really put him in any outfield position. You could do anything you want. Now, is he good enough at anything I want yet in the short game and the base running? Not yet. We'll get there. Like, we've got some time, and he works at it. But there is an energy that just allows you to feed off of how he plays. And the ball in left field, when that ball's hit, you're even questioning if it's catchable. And if you ask him at the end of it, he would probably tell you he should have caught it. And you saw him all look like he was going to punch the wall. So you could tell the passion, and that goes a long way.
Getting Jamie out there to start, just how much do you think that helps the rest of the pitcher when he goes out there and sets the tone like that and attacks the strike zone and just performs the way that he does every time he goes out there?
That's what we need the starting pitcher to do. You know, the starting pitcher has the advantage of flexibility with warm-up routine and time and doing some different things than the guys that are not starting the game. So we need the starter to be in control and be on point when you come out. And when you start looking at this, in the back of my mind, I'm looking at clearly we've seen Jamie give you 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 innings. We need some other guys to show that too. And I think today I saw glimpses of that. I thought Mendez showed a little bit, and clearly Vellini looked like, from a starting standpoint, even though he did not start, complete control of multiple pitches, and you feel like he could lengthen it out. But yeah, Jamie, when he's on it, and now that the changeup is a factor, it's really a kind of a momentum boost when you're on the field defensively, which is a little rare.
I think you said in Pensacola something along the lines of these games are meant for learning, for taking things away. Just 2 stints through 2 separate series. What are some of your takeaways from these games, and where you want to move going forward?
Well, I do like some of the progress I've seen in some of the arms. And we can't throw, and it seems like a long day, but we have other guys that threw on Thursday in our scrimmage, so we didn't get everybody in the game. And, Holtz, and there's other guys that you've seen that are going to be contributors here. I've seen progress on the mound. Defensively, I like our athleticism. Overall, it's one of the more athletic teams I've ever had. And I see some freshmen that are growing up. Like when they walk in here, Miles Bailey's a talented kid, Carnes is a talented kid. They're talented kids, or they shouldn't be here. Right? We have to try to recruit talented athletes, but now you're seeing them start to understand themselves a little bit, and then understand some of the things that we're doing. We're not reinventing the game of baseball, but there is a system to how we need to communicate and play and defend and hit, and I'm starting to see that. So it's been good, and we have one more full week, and then we'll get into the skill work. So I like where we are. I really do.
What would you say are the best performances of Duncan's? What would you say are the most improvements of Duncan's performance, and what improvements are you looking to see him make?
Well, he's really, really good in the outfield with the read and the jump, and when he's in center field, like you saw today, he really takes charge. Now, the pitch recognition and decision making of what you're doing in the middle of the at-bats, whether the at-bats are not going your way or whether they're going great, you have to grasp and make good decisions on swings and good decisions on takes. And I think at times that can be an issue for him, and just the timing. Like, we work a lot on just being on time for the fastball, and we've spent, we did something different with the machine. The guys asked for the machine on the field, and we're trying to do things to allow him to rhythmically line up a little bit with the fastball, which will allow him to adjust better to the secondary pitches, hoping we get to a point where we're making more consistent decisions on swing stuff.
Hunter's opposite field power, I think coming in you knew he had power, but the opposite field power specifically, just how impressive is that?
It's beautiful. I told you he's the most advanced freshman hitter I've seen. And when you have the ability to take, that was a breaking ball, and I think they flashed the replay. That wasn't a ball that spun in the middle of the plate. That was actually a ball in the outside corner of the plate that he stayed on and hit, really hit. There aren't many guys at any age that can do that, not to mention, a freshman. So he just needs to keep logging experience with this caliber of arm, and the sky's the limit for him. And he's ahead of the game. Brad Vanderglass, the work he puts in with those catchers that you'll never see unless you want to go stand down there in the cage every day as practice goes and before practice, then it pays off. And he's coming along nicely. I thought our catchers did a really nice job today, including Carnes.